the hair is clearly connected with feminism.
Martin Luther King once said, "The hair is the richest ornament of a woman."
I had my hair cut in December 2014.
It started 4 years ago. I had just gotten into UI and I decided to relax my hair in school. And the relaxer, it took off my edges. So I started transitioning, and 3 years ago I finally had the courage to just cut everything off.
I decided to go natural because I was trying to prove a point. I was trying to prove a point that black hair can grow, black kinky hair can grow. And that was what motivated me to go natural and to inspire people.
Before now, people have been carrying natural hair. I mean, we talk about the deeper life, the redeemed, and then all of a sudden we start having natural hair stylists. So this actually sparked the idea that, okay, natural hair doesn't have to look like I'm an SU.
There's so much that dates back to even before, let's talk about the Atlantic slave trade, when blacks were carried out of different locations into different parts of Europe, and majority of them left without preparing for anything. And so because of the way the black hair was made, there's so much challenges that they had. They didn't go with their combs. Some of them had to leave their hair on like that. One thing that history also recorded was the fact that hair, the black hair, was very fascinating to the Europeans. They felt that the hair was looking much different from theirs, and they would even call it nappy hair. But things have changed since then. We found out that even as we moved into the post-colonial era, there are still issues with the hair. And I noticed that the kinds of issues that we have in this part of the world are different from the kinds of issues that people who live in the diaspora have.
When you go to a salon, except you are going to a natural hair salon, the normal salons do not necessarily care about your hair or how you are feeling. Or so basically the way it goes is, oh, auntie, they're relaxing, like from the beginning of your as soon as you step into the salon till you leave. I've never gone to an hairdresser that has not advised me to use relaxer in my hair, and I find that funny. Plus, you now leave the salon, you now realize you do not like the hair, and then your front hair starts to fall off. I can't deal. I've actually not been to an hairdresser in like 2 years now. In 2 years, I've been keeping it myself.
Just like we can talk of the name, we can talk of your nationality, the hair is also a symbol. It's very symbolic, and it has a lot to do with our self-identity.
Well, it started with me trying to get my hair back to being healthy and all of that, but then it just evolved into me being my own person now, because I don't know, it just gives me this maybe confidence. I don't know. I think, yeah, it gives me this confidence that I'm being my own person, I'm rocking my own style, and most people don't get to see hair like this unless it's a wig or something more. It just, and sometimes it's really cool when people just see you and they're amazed by what you can look like. So,
as an African woman, your hair is naturally Afro, except you relax it or you perm it. So it also speaks of the fact that, yes, I'm a confident woman. I don't need to perm my hair. I'm comfortable carrying my hair the way it is. So it also speaks of identity and confidence as well. hair should be just hair. It shouldn't be anything that be attached so much importance to. But I think that the human nature is one that is very keen on standing out for different things, pulling out an identifier. I know that there was somebody that said that hair can be seen as a metaphor for race because it's one thing that puts you out very easily, maybe in places where you do not have so many people with your type of hair. So I think it's just one thing. People just want to stand out, and because it has become fashionable, everybody's tilting towards it, despite trying to like go beyond and above for natural hair, because there are now natural hair wigs, extensions, and everything just to look like it's natural hair, and it really isn't. So I think it's just a thing that people just want to belong.
I think there's a natural hair movement in Nigeria. We started about 4 to 5 years ago. For me, I was actually motivated and inspired when I read Chimamanda's Americana book, where she talked about the challenges she faced, how she was taking care of her natural hair in the book. So I think it was during that time when she wrote that book that the movement actually started in Nigeria, and people became conscious of their hair. People wanted to stand out, people wanted to be familiar or wanted to be associated with their race.
I think the movement is timely, the movement of women transitioning back to natural hair. I think it's a timely thing, because when you look at a lot of people, the damage the relaxers and other hair products do to your hair, it makes more sense to do something that is non-destructive and let your hair thrive and let it look nice, healthy, and beautiful.
As we moved from colonialism into the post-independence Africa, a lot of people the mentalities began to change. They felt when we talk about the formal must have to be the Western. And so the will to conform, with whatever they tag formal, brought about the idea of women turning their hairs into perms, into coils, and adding wigs or weave-ons, as the case may be. And so over time, that became the conventional, and nobody would dare go to the office or go out to a public space without doing any of this.
So to a large extent, a lot of people are already acclimatized to Afro, kinky hair. People are already used to it. It's very well accepted now. However, I think in a professional setting, women still face a number of challenges. So take for example, I could have my hair all out, I could have an afro, and then I could go to class like that in school. But if I were to be at work, I'll want to reconsider that.
I think this is where natural hair problems come in Nigeria. A lot of people still feel like natural hair is not tidy, it's not neat, it's not, and all of that. And so I think that there shouldn't be a problem with you wearing your natural hair at the workplace, despite all of because that's our hair. Our hair is kinky. It doesn't have all the defined curls for everybody. I think it should be accepted. I don't think that anybody should fight anybody for wearing their natural hair to the workplace, although it should be tidy. And some people do not make it tidy enough, but I think it's fine.
I have had to go into perming my hair because of that formality issue that I raised earlier. To appear in public, to be a career woman, to do your official functions, they believe that you must appear formal. And that has been a crisis for me, because I always ask, what is formal? And that's a big question that people should begin to ask. Does formality mean westernization? Does it mean that you have to be Western to be formal? And that took us a long time to be able to begin to raise that question. And as a result of that, a lot of women were forced into adding some, attachments into their hair, putting some chemicals into it, until very recently when the society is beginning to embrace the naturals. The return to natural hair started from the United States. And there are several issues of politics, of economy, of identity, of affirming, their personhood, their Africanness, or the blackness, as the case may be, not necessarily only for Africans. And as a result of that, they began to, so it's some kind of statement that they were making, you know, by going natural.
I think over the years, natural hair evolved as some form of emancipation from what we call Eurocentric beauty standards of beauty. I think a lot of people that wear natural hair at the time started because they wanted to stand out. I think human beings generally always want to stand out, one thing or the other. So hair was like one thing that could be an easy identifier for Africans and Africans in the diaspora, African Americans and all of that. So I think over time it has gradually evolved and has been romanticized enough to become a fad. But I think it's still a bit of both political and also more of a fad. I doubt that for African women it will be a political thing because maybe it's more about owning your identity, trying not to conform to standards of beauty, not straightening your hair and all of that. But I think it's maybe just some form of identity discovery, not really political. Well, for African Americans and people in Europe and US, I'm pretty sure that it has a lot of political intonation. I know that Chimamanda said something about how Obama would not have won the election if Michelle Obama wore natural hair, because natural hair represents some form of stuff that has to do with slavery, colonization, all of that. And so I think for them it is very political, but for Nigerians and other Africans in Africa, very unlikely.
The hair is clearly connected with feminism in the sense that the entire feminist discourse has to do with how to see to it that the needs and aspirations of women are taken care of. And one of the things we find is that the society determines a lot of time what we call the ideal woman. And part of what makes the ideal woman has been the hair. The society has a way of curtailing who you are or who you should be, or determining who you should be. The hair is also an instrument to make statements. You know, you can make political statements with your hair. You can make, emancipatory statements with your hair. You can make economic statements with the hair.
I don't think feminism and natural hair are directly linked. So I wouldn't see somebody with natural hair and ordinarily think she must be feminist, or see somebody that is feminist and think she must be wearing natural hair. But I think that because feminism preaches activism, some form of agency of women and all of that, and standing out, doing things that people ordinarily think, oh, you do not, you shouldn't do, this is not ladylike and stuff. I think natural hair in relation to that can be some form of rebellion. It's not really everything that we think it is.
But at the same time, we also find out that some people just do it because they like it. It's not necessarily connected to anything. They believe it's the thing in vogue, and especially young people, once it's in vogue, I want to try it.
I don't think your hair defines who you are, really. To be sincere, your hair does not define who you are. Your hair can be a part of who you are, but who you truly are comes from within. I don't think a hairstyle that you have on your head should now define the kind of personality you will have. And to be sincere, I really do not think so. I think it is more of a thing of, this is who I am. Now, who I am is now showing in all that I am. It is not a thing of, this is all that I am, so all that I am is now going to make who I am. That's just dead.